Battle Arena, Part 1, Chapters 6 through 9, by Patrick Montegna. Chapter 6, Restless. Skylar opens the door to her small, shabby studio apartment and slams it behind her. She shrugs off her backpack, letting it hit the floor. Her tool belt flies into the corner of a patched-up tweed couch. Grabbing a glass from her drying rack, she fills it to the brim with tap water, chugs it, and sits at her table in the middle of the room. Skylar pulls the wrinkled application out of her side pocket and flattens it on the table. Her eyes try to scan its contents, but she abruptly crumples the paper and throws it aimlessly. She collapses into her arms. Alone in her apartment, she gives in and cries. The gloom of her apartment gradually gets overtaken by a shifting, ghostly glow coming from her window. A muffled voice grows louder. Irritated, Skylar raises her head, wipes her nose, and squints. One of the traveling billboards that follow the city border creeps past. On it, a smiling young duo in expensive silk outfits with glowing light blue skin and shimmering silver hair communicate directly to the camera. Skylar gets up to close the curtains, but when she grabs them, her hands come to a mindless standstill. The glamorous and unusually slim lady on the left gives Skylar an electrifyingly charismatic wink and a friendly wave.
Hi, I'm Neri.
She lets out a seemingly staged but oddly endearing laugh.
And I'm Oren.
The equally slim gentleman on the right only allows a much more subdued wave. He puts his arm around Neri's shoulder.
And we are
The Candlelight Scions.
Dreamily, Skylar's gaze travels across Neri's face, her twilight black eyes sparkling with 1,000 stars, her smoky ultramarine eyeliner, her blinding radiant smile. Abruptly, the siblings disappear with a wiping transition, snapping Skylar out of her trance. A deep, energetic voice interrupts.
Will the elegant Neri and Orin of the Candlelight Scions prove themselves victorious against their new foes, the terrifying duo Peanut and Popcorn? Tune in at 8 p.m. on Lunar Eye 12 to find out.
Skylar leans back in surprise.
They're fighters?
Only on the Battle Arena channel.
Oh, civilization.
She brings the curtains together, falls stiffly onto her bed, and lets out a frustrated groan. Usually, sleep would be beckoning her by now, but an influx of ideas, scenarios, and dilemmas pry at her mind. Her stomach rumbles. She sits on the edge of her bed and spots a dark heap in the shadows beyond the table.
Junior.
What?
I think there's something under my bed.
Is it a scary sweater?
No, seriously, help.
Is it your ferocious backpack?
Oh.
Go to sleep, Sky.
Good night.
Good night.
Skylar sighs. Her hand pulls the chain on her desk lamp. Dim light fills the room. She gets up and walks over to her backpack. Opening it, she removes the meal that Miss Lillian made for her. Seasoned fungal vines, cave chicken, and fungal greens. She shuffles over to the kitchen and nukes it in her microwave. While she waits, she leans against the counter.
Hey, Mrs. Faraji, I'm going to be the youngest construction worker ever.
You probably will with the way things are going.
Asha.
Sorry, Mama.
My sweet Asha, do not allow yourself to be disheartened. Although adversity is a persistent downpour, there is shelter in love and strength in what we build together.
Yes, Mama.
When I become a construction worker, I'm going to build everyone a new home. Even you, little baby Raoul.
Don't stand in your chair, Sky. Good construction workers are safe and eat their fungal greens.
Ow. Maybe I'll be an evil construction worker then, and only eat fungal sweets? Mwahaha.
Yeah, okay, evil girl.
Skylar carefully transports her steaming meal to the table and sits down. In the heavy silence, she pushes around some of the fungal greens with her fork. Her belly rumbles again. She starts eating unenthusiastically. With a mouthful of food, she speaks to her wrist.
Easy, give current account balance.
You have 532 credits available. That is enough to buy a new...
Easy, stop.
Eventually, the bowl is empty, and Skylar places it in the sink. She taps her fingers on the counter and thinks,
What now?
Neri's deep, starry eyes pop into her mind. She blinks, goes over to her window, and pulls back her curtains to see the night sky. Swapping her red jumpsuit for a charcoal long sleeve and black pants, Skylar turns onto 96th Street. Jogging across the street with her backpack slung over one shoulder, she travels towards the city's edge. The closer she gets to the border, the darker and the quieter it gets. An occasional critter scurries past, but she doesn't bat an eye. Following the scrapyard fence on her left, she comes up on Circuit Way, the cross street that brings the 96th to an abrupt end.
Hey, Sky?
Yeah?
You know what's cool about Circuit Way?
It has a wall?
Nope. Guess where it ends?
Spectre Defense Base?
Good guess, but that was a trick question. It doesn't really end anywhere. It's kind of like a closed circuit.
Oh, so basically, if you stayed here and I said see ya going that way, I could eventually say hiya coming from the other direction?
Yep.
That is cool, Junior. Let's walk the whole thing.
Ha! Yeah, right. I'll pass. You know how long that would take?
Nope.
At least 2 days of nonstop walking.
Meh, I could do it.
Skylar peers up at the imposing 15-foot concrete wall that separates the busy chaos of the city from the silent dread of the wasteland and sneezes. She makes a left and goes south along Circuit Way. Other than the occasional border security wagon cruising by, Skylar is left to enjoy her solitude in peace. Faint chatter draws her attention to the scrapyard. She spots 3 obscured figures rummaging around in the dark.
Yeah, grab that. Should have some copper in it.
It's kinda heavy, man.
Dude, move. I'll get... Shh. You want the whole city to hear us? Wait, there's someone by the fence. Get down.
You think they saw us?
Quiet.
Skylar rolls her eyes and continues walking. Wood's construction comes up on her left. She presses her palm against the old brick wall and sighs. Making her way down the first alleyway, she retrieves a rope from her backpack, spins the hooked end, and hurls it around the bottom rung of a fire escape. Yanking it, the ladder comes free and slides down, producing a nasty scraping noise. A beam of light grows from the street. Skylar moves up against the wall. A security wagon passes by, leaving her unnoticed. At the top of the warehouse, Skylar climbs warily up the slanted metal roof, each step letting out an unenthusiastic creak. Reaching the ridge of the warehouse, she checks the sturdiness of a makeshift platform. After verifying its reliable condition, she removes her backpack and plops down on a lawn chair that provides her with a comfortable view of the night sky and the vast wasteland. A cold breeze blows, running a shiver down her spine. Skylar reaches under her chair and pulls out a rolled-up blanket. Wrapping herself up like a cocoon, she begins to take in the view. A long abandoned and weather-beaten path that used to be the great northwest route to Mammonbourne's neighboring ghost city, Hammertryth, stretches far along a narrow mountain pass. If Skylar squints hard enough, she can barely make out the silhouette of a ranger outpost on the crest of the mountain overlooking the narrow valley. Even further ahead, an imposing mountain range shoots high into the sky, disappearing in both directions. Its jagged, black outline giving birth to a sea of stars, distant planets, and icy comets. Tilting her head straight up, she can see 2 moons, a pale, tiny one and a larger one with magnificent swirls of amber and crimson. The 2 moons glide around one another while orbiting Skylar's home planet, Vector. Turning on her side, Skylar lightly tugs at a frayed thread on the lawn chair. Her cyclical attempts to find a surefire plan to save Wood's construction and repair and more grow weaker and weaker as she gradually falls asleep. Chapter 7, The Goobers. Clunk!
Come on, I don't want to be here till sunrise.
Man, I'm trying. This lock is tough.
Clunk! Skylar wakes from her slumber in a confused, grumpy haze. Sitting up, she reaches for the sky, yawns, and rubs her eyes. Clunk!
It won't break.
Puff! Here. Step aside.
Skylar inches past her platform, getting a view of the alleyway below, and spots the 3 Goobers from earlier trying to break into the warehouse. The apparent leader of the trio lifts a stone above his shirtless, muscular, pale body and flashes his jagged teeth as he grimaces. Clunk!
Wow. Good effort.
A short, muscular man in a navy tracksuit with mulberry skin and a classic evil villain scar on his right eye gives the leader a patronizing thumbs up.
Shut up. It's hardened steel. I just need to hit it a few more times and we'll be in.
Okay, we're waiting.
Skylar takes a deep breath and projects her best intimidating voice.
Hey, wannabe burglars, stop, right now.
The third member, a thin, sickly-looking fellow with bloodshot eyes sporting a messy tank top and sweats, looks around frantically.
Crap, did you hear that?
Yeah, we should get out of here.
Nah, wait.
The leader scans the area suspiciously. Skylar continues.
Leave now, before I punch all of you. And kick you.
Where is he? You see him?
He's up there, dummy.
Bro, this is like that comic. We should get out of here.
Man, if he could beat us, don't you think he would have done it by now? Anyways, he kind of sounds like a kid. Hey, tough guy, why don't you come down here and prove it?
Skylar's heartbeat picks up.
I don't want to hurt you, so this is your last warning. You have till the count of 5 to leave this place with your lives. 5.
4, 3, 2, 1. There, I helped you. Now come down here and fight us. Quit hiding.
They called my bluff?
Skylar's thoughts start racing. She has a rope with a hook, a blanket, a chair. The idea that they probably can't reach the fire escape gives her some comfort.
See? All bark, no bite. Hey, let's grab some of those and show this weenie who he's messing with.
Skylar tries to peek at the culprits, but quickly dodges a projectile zooming towards her face. It slams against the metal roofing with a loud crash.
Bricks?
More fly up. She rolls off her chair, barely dodging another. She thinks to herself,
Why didn't I bring my helmet?
A brick lands inches from her face on the platform. Using the chair as cover, she waits for the barrage to end.
Guys, I think he learned his lesson. Maybe next time he'll just keep his mouth shut. Hey, bud, there's nothing here worth losing your life over. This place is a dump.
The tracksuit man adds.
Hey, wait! Guys, maybe he's that fat loser that owns this sorry mess. Can't even afford an apartment, so he lives on the roof. Ha ha ha!
Hey, genius, you might be onto something.
Skylar clenches her fists.
Hey, fatty, I've heard about you. Didn't you used to work in the canopy? How'd you end up here of all places? Did Daddy die and take his talent with him?
Skylar grabs a hold of a brick.
Maybe if you didn't spend all your dough on grub, you would be able to hire some actual workers under the age of, let's say, 1 million. Or even better, you could afford to pay a real company to stop by and demolish this piece of garbage.
With fire in her eyes, Skylar leaps up onto her feet.
Hey, look, I was right. It wasn't fatty, just a stupid, ugly bit.
Whack! Skylar's brick hits the chatty leader straight in the face, and he flies into a stack of boxes. Skylar picks up another brick.
Whoa, bro, let's get out of here.
The feeble one shakes in his boots.
What about Cooper?
Bro, on Cybermingle they say there's a fine line between having a cool face scar and looking like a ghoul. And anyway, you know I just stole these teeth yesterday?
Yuck, no I didn't.
Oh.
But you make a good point. Let's skedaddle.
Wow, bunch of cowards.
The leader struggles to find his bearings while holding his bleeding nose. Finally on his feet, he squints up at Skylar.
Hey, girlie, why don't you come down here and...
Skylar winds up her arm for another throw.
Oh, hey now. Whoa, whoa, whoa. All right, you win. This time.
He jogs off into the shadows in the direction of his fleeing friends.
Y'all are so dead when I...
Heaving with rage, Skylar closes her eyes and tries to calm her breathing. Letting go of the brick, it falls off the roof and descends to the ground. Skylar opens her eyes and realizes how close she is to the edge. Backing up, her foot trips over a brick and she falls backwards. Her back hits the fragile, rusted roof, it gives in, and Skylar plummets into darkness. Chapter 8, In the Dark. Skylar crashes painfully onto the metal frame of a drop ceiling. Having the wind knocked out of her, she gasps in silence. Only to make things worse, Skylar's backpack surprises her by dropping heavily onto her lap, snapping the fiberglass tile underneath her. Descending bottom first through the new hole, she presses her heels against the metal frame and barely takes hold of the side behind her head. In an awkward but determined V-shape, she catches her breath. Letting her feet fall first into the lightless room, she hangs from her fingertips and drops. Crack! Skylar's left boot snaps something beneath it.
Oops.
Blind, she reaches around for a light switch. The narrow walls lead her to assume that she is in a janitor closet. Finding the switch, she flips it up, but no light comes on.
Huh?
She feels the shape of the door and tries to open it. The handle twists, but after only giving an inch, the door stops against something hard. A few more tries lead nowhere. Turning away, Skylar taps the floor gingerly with her foot to find her backpack.
Ah.
Crouching, she digs through it and pulls out a small flashlight. Click!
Finally.
The room is bathed in a beam of dim light. A large cardboard box shares its weight on 2 filing cabinets, and a stuffed trash bag lies on the floor. Shining the flashlight up, she examines the 2 holes that she fell through while rubbing her sore back. Skylar turns around and peeks through the little gap in the door.
A wall?
Walking over to the trash bag, Skylar finds the tiny plaque she must have broken and picks it up.
District 2, best build of Lunar E30, 92. Woods construction?
She wonders why Junior never mentioned this. She moves it to the side, places her flashlight in her teeth, and rummages through the bag. To her surprise, she finds more trophies, plaques, and ribbons. Woods Construction, Most Promising Youth Award, Johnny Roberts, 3078. District 2, First Place, Fastest Builder Competition, Johnny Roberts, 3083. District 2, First Place, Fastest Builder Competition, Johnny Roberts, 3084. District 2, First Place, Fastest Builder Competition, Johnny Roberts, 3085. District 2, First Place, Fastest Builder Competition, Johnny Roberts, 3086. District 4, Honorable Guest, Johnny Roberts, 3087.
Who is this?
Skylar pushes the bag to the right and goes to the box sitting on top of the filing cabinets. Putting her flashlight down, she tries to lift it but stops short.
What's in here? Lead?
She takes a deep breath and bends her knees. She lifts with all her might. Turning around, Skylar loses her grip and the box tips forward, spilling hundreds of newspapers and magazines all over the floor.
Dang it.
She looks back to grab her flashlight when 2 colorful figures catch her eye. Skylar picks up the 2 adorable bobbleheads. The bobblehead figurine in her right hand is substantially bigger than the left one. It looks like a young, muscular man with a dirty blonde mullet, peachy skin with rosy cheeks, and a red jumpsuit. In his right arm, he holds an anvil, and in his left hand, he holds a sledgehammer. Something about him looks familiar. The one on her left reminds her of Asha, but younger and with short, wavy black hair. She is also wearing a red jumpsuit. In her hands, she holds a power drill and a roll of blueprints. Skylar checks the bottom of their round stands for names, but doesn't find any. She squints to see what is on their jumpsuit name tags. The woman has the initial ZF, and the guys are JR. She places them back on the right filing cabinet, grabs her light, and opens the top left drawer gradually as it scrapes against its old, rusted frame. She pulls out a manila folder and skims through it. More and more certificates for the mysterious Johnny Roberts. Remembering the mess behind her, she drops on her knees and starts rummaging through the chaotic pile. She unfolds a newspaper dated Lunar B25 3079 and scans its contents. Exceptionally strong orphan teen saves workers from collapsing building. District 2 local, Johnny Roberts, 13, was only 12 when he became the youngest person ever to work at Woods Construction. Due to a unique mutation in his DNA, which Mammonbourne researchers believe may be connected to synthetic protein substance, cave chicken, he developed unbelievable superhuman strength. I knew the kid would be an important asset for the company the first day I saw him, so I did the smart thing and took him under my wing, said Woods Construction owner Roger Woods Sr. On the day of the accident, everything was running smoothly until the wall fell over and Humble Roberts had this to say. Hey, I just reacted. He saved my life! Skylar shines her flashlight at a black and white photo of the 13-year-old Johnny, a short kid with long, unkempt hair wearing a baseball tee and jeans. He poses in front of the collapsed building, surrounded by thankful individuals while holding his helmet and smiling to the camera. She exchanges the newspaper for a colorful, glossy magazine and turns it over to see its cover.
Johnny Roberts.
She glances at the bobblehead behind her and back at the cover. A giant of a man with an unmistakable mullet, peachy skin, and rosy cheeks stands proudly in the middle of a group photo. Wood Sr. is on his left, stern as always but bearing a fraction of a smile. On his left seems to be a young Mrs. Faber. On the far right side, Skylar barely recognizes a mustached Tempest Faraji and a mid-laugh Mr. Bardacci. At first, Skylar believes that a young, pregnant Asha leans against Johnny's right side, but realizes that this mysterious woman has to be ZF. The busy scene behind them is a fresh construction site. Above their heads is the magazine's name in sky blue text, Skyreachers, with the issue date Lunar H30, 93. A semi-transparent rectangular overlay with a caption reads, "Reaching for the future. For the skilled workers at Woods Construction, the sky is no longer the limit." Skylar's eyes widen with excitement when they reach the bottom of the magazine. In teeny, tiny white text is a list of names. Left to right. Amelie Faber, Roger Woods Sr., Johnny Roberts, Zora Faraji, Tempest Faraji, Murat Bardakchi.
Zora Faraji?
Although Skylar is positive that she never heard the name in her life, something distant tugs at her sense of familiarity. She comes to the conclusion that she needs answers.
Who are these mysterious individuals, and why were they kept secret from me? I have to wake up Junior and get some answers ASAP.
Abruptly, a distracting thought enters her mind.
How am I supposed to get out of here?
Skylar stuffs a few rolled-up magazines and newspapers into her backpack and removes her hooked rope. Getting to her feet, she assesses her options and makes a plan.
Climb onto the drop ceiling frame, toss the hook over the platform, climb out. Easy. Oh, the bobbleheads.
She walks over to the filing cabinets.
You thought I would just leave you two here in this dark place? Not gonna happen.
Skylar carefully places each of them in her backpack, upgrading her simple escape into a delicate rescue mission. Following her plan to a T, Skylar drags herself back on top of the roof, gets to the lawn chair, places her backpack down by her side, and exhales. The sparkling world above calms her. Gradually, a red glow shifts just at the bottom of her view, and a source of audio grows louder. She sits up. Another floating billboard traces the city border below her. Not in the mood to see another ad, Skylar starts pulling her rope up to store it away. Suddenly, Johnny Roberts' bobblehead tumbles out of her backpack, and Skylar nervously juggles with it until just barely catching it inches from the ledge.
That was close. You good?
It bobs its head up and down. The billboard's audio becomes more distinct. Rock and roll music pours out. The energetic voice from the end of Neri and Oren's ad fills the air.
Hey, fans. In just 2 days, meet your favorite fighters. Buy one-of-a-kind merch. Witness new tech and superpower demonstrations. You're going to want to bring the whole family because someone special is coming out. What happens when you mix a humble beginning and an unbendable will with a really bad farmer's tan?
You get your undisputed champion, your favorite hard-working son of a gun, me, Johnny Sunburn.
Skylar chuckles at the absurd name and glances up at the billboard.
No way.
Chapter 9. Secrets, Tea, and Mysteries. Compelled by game-changing insight, Skylar runs down Circuit Way to the southwest end of Woods Construction. Following the row of loading docks, she comes up on a length of barred-up basement-level windows. Little did the muscular burglar know, his theory about Junior's place of residence wasn't too far off. Skylar counts 5 windows from the end, reaches through its bars, and knocks on the glass. Impatiently, she knocks louder. A muffled voice responds,
"Just wait."
After a few seconds, a groggy Junior appears in the window, rubbing his eyes.
Junior, we need to talk.
Sky, it's late. Let's talk about your decision tomorrow.
Skylar produces Johnny Roberts' bobblehead from behind her and shakes it near the glass. Junior's eyes widen.
How did you...
He lets out a tired sigh.
Come over to the side. I'll let you in.
She jumps up and makes her way over to the closest loading dock. She hears the hatch unlock and waits as the door rolls open. Junior greets her while she rushes past him.
Junior, you've got some explaining to do.
Yeah, I sure do.
He closes the door behind her. Noticing that she is already far ahead of him, Junior takes his time shuffling to his repurposed basement apartment. Reaching the doorway, he sees Skylar using his tiny dining table to unpack her backpack.
I'll make some fungal roast tea.
He drags his feet over to the counter, washes out an old teapot, fills it with water, and places it on his narrow stovetop. Opening a cabinet above the sink, he pulls out 2 mugs, scoops 2 spoonfuls of a dark powder, and dumps them in each.
All right, now we wait.
He turns around to find Skylar staring at him intensely. In her right hand, a magazine. In the other, 2 bobbleheads.
Sky, how on Vector did you find those?
He pulls out one of the chairs and sits down.
I fell through the roof.
What were you doing up there? Wait, are you okay?
No, I'm actually a ghost.
She confesses in a spooky voice.
Now, I'll haunt this place for eternity so you can never fire me.
She frees up her hands, raises them above her head and wiggles her fingers.
Mark my words.
A sharp pain shoots through her back, causing her to wince.
Just take it easy. Are you sure you're fine?
Yes, Junior. I'll be fine. You should have seen the other guy, though.
What do you mean?
There were some uninvited guests earlier who really wanted to come in unannounced, and they found joy at throwing bricks on our roof. If it weren't for my intimidating presence and pinpoint accuracy, who knows?
Sky.
Junior puts his face in his hands.
Please don't do stuff like that again. It's not worth it. There's individuals in this area you don't want to go messing around with.
They were calling this place a dump and, making fun of us. I had to say something.
The teapot whistles. Junior gets up and fills the mugs. Grabbing small plastic tongs from a drawer, he adds a little sugar cube to Skylar's and 3 to his and stirs both drinks. She taps the front of the magazine.
Who are they?
Junior hands Skylar her drink and sits down. Skylar remains standing. He slowly takes a sip of his tea while trying to find where to begin.
Junior, who is Zora Faraji? Who is Johnny Roberts? Why were they kept secret from me, and why in civilization did he change his name to Johnny Sunburn? Ouch!
Hot tea spills on her wrist. She puts the cup down.
Careful, Sky. Can you sit down and take a deep breath?
Hesitantly, Skylar sits across from him at the little square table and moves her backpack to the floor. She takes a deep breath and exhales. Junior picks up Johnny Roberts' bobblehead and observes it nostalgically.
You don't know how long I've been asking myself that last question.
Also, why did Zora leave? Did she become a fighter too? Oh, and how is she related to—
Sky.
Junior gazes up at her with a very solemn expression.
I'm going to answer your questions, but it is very important that you listen and prepare yourself for what you are about to hear.
Okay.
He takes a sip of his tea.
First, who are they?
He clears his throat.
Zora is your mother and Johnny is your father. They're your parents, Sky.
Wait.
Blindsided, Skylar struggles to keep her breathing under control.
But you told I was— and you were never going to tell me?
We always planned to tell you. Just wanted to make sure we told you when you were ready.
We? Who else knows?
Skylar tries to sip her tea through shaking hands.
All the workers know except Wandel, since he started after we moved here, and the Farajis know.
Does everybody else know why they left too? Why did they leave?
A lump forms in Skylar's throat.
I guess. My dad loved fame more than his own daughter. Did Mom go with him?
Sky, I'm sorry, but Zora passed away when you were only a few months old.
What happened?
A stabbing pain grows in Skylar's chest, and tears run down her cheeks. She wipes them away. He sighs.
You met Diego, Asha's son, right?
Yeah, I met him only a few times. Why?
At the time, he was just 15. 16. And well, I got a knock at the door one night, and it was him. And to my surprise, he was carrying you in his arms. I asked him what he was doing because the boy always had a knack for being up to no good. But he was petrified. I couldn't get a word out of him. I dropped you off at Asha's. I called my father and gathered a few of the workers, and he led us to the building we were working on at the time. That's where we found her.
His voice falls to a whisper. Junior stares into his cup, his mind pulled into the past.
During that time, I was staying at Johnny's place, and I hadn't seen him all day. No one knew where he was, so we started sweeping the area. Eventually, we found him knocked out on one of the floors above. When he finally came to, all he could remember was being pushed by a strong wind and falling. When Diego heard this, the poor kid lost his mind. Started going on and on about how some monster in the shadows blew them away.
A distant memory pops into Skylar's mind. She whispers under her breath.
The wolf?
A shiver runs down her spine.
What?
Nothing.
Sky, Asha is your aunt. She's Zora's older sister.
Memories flood her mind as she begins to connect the dots.
When she heard the terrible news, she wouldn't let Johnny get anywhere near you. She blamed him for Zora's death and endangering his only child. She took him to court, and it was looking like she was going to get full custody of you. I think this is what finally broke him, because when I went to go check on him the night before the ruling, he was gone.
He just left?
He disappeared.
A childlike fear flashes in Junior's eyes.
I've known him since we were kids. He never seemed to be the type of guy who would just give up and leave. Since he was basically a celebrity, it was all over the news. Even Solomon V put out a crazy $5 million credit reward for proof of his whereabouts.
Solomon.
I remember just minutes later, thousands of witnesses started coming forward saying that they knew where he was. Beyond the West Gate, the District 3 landfill, the Northern Hollow Basin, the caverns. Search mission after search mission. Tracking specialists even went as far as the Osseous Sea, but nothing. Just gone. For nearly 8 years, I had to accept that I would never find out what happened to my friend.
But then...
Yeah, but then he was back like he never left. And honestly, that was more disturbing than his disappearance.
Junior picks up the bobblehead again and examines it.
I thought I had lost my mind. Murat called me one night and told me to flip to the Battle Arena channel, so I did. And there he was, with a new farmer's tan. I stopped what I was doing, used one of my last employer passes to hop on a train, and went straight to the arena. I watched his fight, got in the autograph line, and Sky...
He places the bobblehead down on its side.
What?
I knew at that moment that Johnny never came back.
What do you mean?
In the cold and silent room, Junior struggles to find the words.
Well, he, to his credit, recognized me. He said, "Hey, Junior, my old pal, how's it been? This and that. How's the company? Did you meet someone new?" I didn't have time for his bullshit. "Where did you go? Do you even know how old your daughter is now? Why didn't you call to tell us you were alive?"
The most rage Skylar has ever seen from Junior boils to the surface.
And you know what he said? He said, "Sorry, bud, we're going to have to catch up another time. Got to be in a promo soon. Have a safe trip home. Come again." Come again? Are you kidding me? If you ask me, he died the day he...
Junior.
Junior snaps back to the present.
I'm sorry, Sky.
She sighs heavily and stands up.
It's late.
We should have told you sooner.
She pats his shoulder.
Hey, at least... I know now. I'm going to head home. You're right. It really is late, and I've got a lot to process. Tomorrow, since I'll have plenty of free time on my hands, maybe I'll go visit Aunt Asha. Huh. Never said that before.
Skylar packs up her backpack. Junior watches her, befuddled by her sudden shift in composure. Slinging the backpack over her shoulder, she heads over to the stairwell.
Sky, are you going to be all right?
Yeah, I'll be fine. Can't say the same about the roof, though.
Junior smiles faintly.
Well, the roof is lucky it wasn't me.
They both chuckle.
Be safe getting home, kid. No more fights, okay?
Don't think I can promise you that, but I do have one promise.
What's that?
She declares.
I don't know how, but I promise to save this company.
And before Junior has a chance to respond, Skylar is gone.